When I left the United States back in 2022 with my family, many believe it was for the beaches or the weather or simply to find myself. Nah, I've actually never shared before the 5 reasons why we ended up leaving and staying here, or how you can use those 5 reasons if you're looking to leave. And the 5th one, check this out, she made me move, but maybe not why you think. If you need to convince you, your spouse, or anybody to move away from the United States to a place like this is the video for you. Let's dive in. Number 1, this is the simplest of them all. You just need to plant the seed. This is with yourself, with your spouse, with your kids, with whomever you feel needs the convincing. And honestly, the easiest and best way is to follow some accounts that are living in places that you want to live. Specific to the Dominican Republic, I'll recommend a few for you. There's Abroad with Jay. There's Jay Gives Back. There's Purely Walking. There's Delightful Travelers. And hey, there's the Gringo. You can come watch. I got stuff. In fact, I made a playlist on moving to the Dominican Republic and a playlist on living in the Dominican Republic just to make it easier for you to find the videos relevant to those specific topics. But simple as it might be, find the experts, find the information, and just follow it and normalize it. Look at Instagram posts, watch videos, take a look at the different tours that people like me do of the country that they live in so you can see what does it look like there so that when you do go, it doesn't feel like new and scary. All right, the second tip I think is truly important, and some of you may not agree with this, and that's okay. But seeing people that move here and then struggle and may want to move back, I feel like this is the one where they fall down. And it's simple as this. Aim for a parallel lifestyle. I know you're moving abroad. I know you're moving to another culture and you want to maybe cut costs or cut lifestyle or make it more simple. And I completely get it. And many people that watch this channel, I see the stats. They are Dominican American and they have a dream of moving back to the homeland or maybe to the homeland for the first time. They grew up or were born in the United States, but have Dominican roots. And so many will convince you, and many accounts out there are great, including Delightful Travelers, in showing you more of a minimalist lifestyle. And if that's who you are at your core and you're trapped in sort of the hubbub of city life or US life, then I get it. But I see so many people move down here, and when the electric goes out, or the water doesn't get hot, or they don't have access to certain stores or certain conveniences, they really struggle with the transition. Not that you can't get over it, but I see a lot of people going back for that reason. They had the dream of minimalism, but the reality of being somebody that likes something more than that. So again, you can go to a lot of different accounts that will tell you, why would you ever move to the Dominican Republic or Bali and aim for a parallel lifestyle? That's ridiculous. Great, go follow those accounts. 1 or 2 of the ones that I just talked about, they can teach you that. In fact, I'll give you another one. Tommy Bryson, great guy. He's passionate about a minimalist lifestyle here in DR. Follow him. He's an incredible creator. But if you're following me, I'm just gonna be real with you. My wife's Dominican. She grew up here till the age of 12, moved to the US, grew up there, made a life. She grew up in an inner city. She didn't grow up rich in the United States, but we had a certain lifestyle, a certain expectation for how we wanted to live our lives. And when we moved here, we aimed for that. Cost more, but you don't need to apologize if comfort is a priority for you. All right, so you planted the seed. You're aiming for a parallel lifestyle. Number 3 is super simple, super easy. Find expat communities online. There are multiple. You can go out and find them. Punta Cana Expats, I think, is one, and others, and they're just sort of group chats that you can jump into. But here's where my announcement comes in. Many of you have been asking me for a while, like, hey, I'd love more access to more content, bonus content, or even just to you, Jamie. I'd love more information directly from you. So I'm announcing the launch of what I call the DR Inner Circle. This is a membership community for anybody interested in investing in, moving to, or connecting more with the Dominican Republic. And in it, I'm offering a ton. First, you're gonna get all the content that YouTube doesn't let me talk about. Many ask me like, what do you think of this development? What do you think of this area? And it's like, man, I can't give specific recommendations on certain things because I'm not invested and, there's certain guidelines I have to follow. But in the Inner Circle, I'm there for your questions. Every week, I'm going to go live and make sure that I give you all space to ask questions, and I'm gonna answer them as honestly as I possibly can. And when I don't know, I'll get the answer. Also, every month, I'm going to bring an expert in taxes, immigration, real estate, general law on and interview them for your benefit with your questions to make sure you're getting all the information you need from experts that I trust right here in the Dominican Republic. You'll also get exclusive behind the scenes content that will never be released to the public and early access to content before it hits YouTube. All of that wrapped in a Facebook community exclusive for you where all of us can engage and get to know each other better. And I'm going to be actively in there engaging with all of you. So when you have questions, thoughts, you just want to connect with other people, they're all going to be in there. All of this for less than the cost of 1 gumball a day. Now, in addition, I've also partnered with a few restaurants locally that are going to give discounts to members, and you'll be issued a digital discount card and that list will just grow and grow. So chock full of value if you want to join me. But that's a way that you can get into an online community that's not just general and random, but that gets more access to somebody living here who's got the connections and can share with you, and who will be live in the Facebook group weekly to answer all of your questions. Click the link below if you want to join the DR Inner Circle. We'll be honored to have you there. All right, number 4 comes after you've planted the seed, you've aimed for a parallel lifestyle, and you've joined the DR Inner Circle. Next is the biggie. Come down for 1 month. I want to be clear on this. If you're thinking about making this move, it's not a week, it's not 2 weeks, it's not 3 weeks. Do 1 month. And there's certain things that you should do with that month, whether you're trying to convince yourself or especially if you're trying to convince your spouse. First, find the spot that is a parallel lifestyle for you or your spouse, and make sure everything you do is for living, not for visiting. Get an Airbnb with a kitchen, go to the grocery store, rent a car for the month. Normalize life here. Go spend money on a gym membership that you, your spouse, go do. Enroll your kids in tennis lessons or gymnastics or whatever. Put them in a summer camp program. The reason I say 1 month is my wife and I accidentally tested that way back when in 2021, before we moved here, by going for a month in COVID to Hollywood, Florida with our family. I was employed at Progressive Insurance at the time, which was the day job I had and have since left. But in COVID, we were all at home. So I talked to my boss. She's like, yeah, go wherever you want to go. We went to Hollywood, Florida for 1 month, got an Airbnb. And here's what we learned. 2 weeks in, it really felt like, okay, we're ready to go home. Maybe this like living in another place thing isn't for us. About 2.5 to 3 weeks in, we overcame that and we settled into, okay, this is lifestyle. And then we had that 4th week to really just kind of bake in and make living feel normal in Hollywood, Florida. Like we could have moved there. It was, we figured it out. We knew the grocery stores, where CVS was, how to get what we needed, our favorite restaurants. We became locals for that 1 month. And I can attest to this recently. We just got back from Peru. We were there for 10 days and we jumped around the country. And I'll tell you, at 10 days, it was time to come home. Had we settled in and made it more of a normal life, we probably could have stuck around for a while. That's why I say do a whole month. So this way you give yourself time to fully adjust and normalize your lifestyle there. The other thing I would do, kind of planting the seed and plugging it into this come down for a month tactic, is if you're talking about it, if your spouse, your wife, your husband was like, all right, I wasn't sure, but I'm starting to kind of come around, don't aim for a full move forever. Do something shorter term. Say, okay, well, why don't we move for 6 months or 1 year? We'll rent out the house. We're not going to sell it. We're going to keep our life in the US or Canada, and we're going to go for a year. That's what we did. But the 5th thing made us stick around past a year, and now we just decided we're here for as long as we feel like being here. We have no end date. I'll get to the 5th thing in a second. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's so good. But that's a strategy. Don't make it move forever. Make it move for a period of time. It's a way lower barrier and it feels way less hard and heavy on you or your spouse. At least 6 months, I would say, but 6 months to a year, perfect. Maybe you go back, maybe you don't, but I'd rather do it and have all that chaos of moving for a little while than wonder when I'm 95 years old, why didn't I ever go do that with my family? That's me. The other thing I'll say is this, the parallel lifestyle piece of coming down here, I say aim for that for a few reasons. Let me give you a small example. I live in Punta Cana. Right now, let me show you where I am. This area is called downtown Punta Cana. You can see over there is something called Jumbo, which is a grocery store. Right there is IKEA with that giant Plaza San Juan swordfish. That's a plaza down here. And on the other side of IKEA, over there, you'll find restaurants and shops and dentist offices and all of that stuff. And then over here, behind me, you can see residential property being built. This is apartment buildings and condos. And the same thing over on this side, right over here. Back there, you'll find theme parks, places for kids to play, soccer clubs, all of that stuff, which may feel like, oh, why wouldn't I just move to Miami? And I'll explain that in a second, but you want something parallel. You want the comforts that you have there with the culture that you have here. The other thing is when you're in the more developed areas, some of the things that we as Americans fear, rightly or wrongly, are actually taken care of. Here's an example. I live in an area called Punta Cana Village. This is a beautiful community near the airport in Punta Cana, and the community is owned by the same people that own the airport, that own the grocery store land, that own the mall. It's a big developer that's built a community. Let's say there's a fire. In the greater Punta Cana Verón area, or the area north where I am right now, which is called Bávaro, even though they call it downtown Punta Cana, this is Bávaro. There's like a fire truck or two. They're there, but God knows their response time. Living in Punta Cana Village, the group that owns my community and owns the airport has a full fire department. So when there's something that goes down, that amenity is available to me. Again, I'm a conditioned American. I get it. And many of you are too that are watching this. Even though you may feel like, oh, life's much simpler there. And it is. And again, I'm going to explain this in a second. But things like that are real worries for somebody who's grown up in the developed world. And when you move to developed aspects of the developing world, it is the best of both worlds. A lot of worlds. That's the best of them. Now, here's the thing that people don't quite understand when they move to the developed part of a developing nation. The culture is still the culture. My neighbors are Dominican. They're higher socioeconomic Dominican. They're Dominicans that have lived abroad, lived in the United States or Canada or Europe and moved back, or have lived here their whole lives. They came from cities like Santo Domingo or Santiago. Their families had some wealth. They built businesses, whatever, but they're Dominicans. And the culture is the same. Connectedness between people. No mass or school shootings. That's sacrilege. That's crazy talk down here. Music, food, celebrations, all of that. It's still the same, whether you're in the barrio or you're in the highest end community in this country. When we decided to go to Peru, my wife messaged her girls, which there's 3 or 4 other women that live in my neighborhood, all but one are Dominican, and said, me and the family going to Peru. And they're like, we're coming too then. And so we had 4 families that went to Peru together. Like, I don't know. It was like a last minute, 1 month before, we're going to go to Peru. Then we're going to go to Peru too. Like, I didn't have that in the US. Maybe some of you do, but that sense of community, that sense of connection, that what we call that si Dios quiere lifestyle, like, yeah, we'll book it. God allows it. Let's go. That exists, whether you're on the high end or the low end of the socioeconomic spectrum in the country. So you get the culture and you get the developed part, and the world just keeps on spinning. All right. I've teased the last one long enough, but did you subscribe? Did you say thank you? Okay. All right. I'll stop. Here's the one. Oh my God, it's so good. It's the greatest perk of living here, as long as you do it right. And I'll explain what that means. Here's the perk. And some of you might have clicked on this thumbnail because you saw something that you thought this video was going to be about. I see you.
So that was a lie.
Listen to me. When you come down here for a month, and especially after you come down here for the 6 months or a year, make it a priority to hire a housekeeper. The how-to on this is very easy. If you're coming down for an Airbnb for a month, just ask the Airbnb host to find you a housekeeper. They'll charge you a premium, but whatever. Get the housekeeper. You need to convince your wife. 74% of you are men that watch this channel, so you're probably trying to convince your wife. Or if you're the guy and your wife's been trying to convince you, trust me, the housekeeper is the ultimate tipping point for making the move down here. And honestly, at the 1-year mark when we moved in August 2022, we had flights booked in August 2023 to move back to the United States. And one of the top, if not the top consideration for why we didn't make the move, the housekeeper. Now, this isn't some kinky, weird thing. Like some of you might have saw the thumbnail and thought like, you're getting down with that. Like, no. First off, my wife is way hotter. I mean, just look at this woman.
Wow! Beautiful!
And I say that because if she's watching, I didn't choose that image. The editor, Dan, did. And Dan, if she doesn't like it, you're fired.
My time has come.
You watching, babe? I love you. I'm sorry. It was Dan. Dan. I'll edit it myself next time and put somebody really ugly. Frickin' Dan. But here's the key with the housekeeper. As I said, get one through your Airbnb host. And if you end up staying here, or even if you do that 1 month and then come for a 6 month or year, you might Airbnb the first week, 2-3 weeks when you come down here before you find a permanent place, which is a great idea. Still, have the Airbnb host provide you the housekeeper. If you really like her, then hire her on for yourself. Here's my take on it. Pay them at the top of the market. Now, the market's not much. We pay around $600, maybe a little bit more per month for our housekeeper. In many parts of the country, they'll convince you it should be less. That's fine. You do you. I'm going to pay somebody what I think is fair, if not more than reasonable. And other considerations that we have with her is paying for transportation expenses, paying for medical expenses, helping her out when one of her kids got really sick and taking care of those expenses for her. We give her a ton of vacation. When we went away for a month, we went back to the US for a month, and I'll talk about that in a second because it was crazy. We paid her for the whole month to take off and enjoy. You can also do things like housing allowances if housing goes above a certain amount. Just be fair, be generous. Here's something I do. Every morning I wake up, I go downstairs and I make 10 eggs. Yeah, that's right. 10 eggs. They never made the price level that they did in the United States. They're actually pretty reasonable here. I eat 4. My older son eats 2. My younger son eats 2. The other 2, Isabel, our housekeeper. I make them for her. I put them in a bowl. I stick them on the counter. If she's not quite there yet, when she walks in, she's got eggs. Now, I don't make it for my wife because she fasts in the morning. So calm down, you pot stirrers, you. But the point is, like, we treat her well. We've had housekeepers that were told by other people that hired them not to sit on their couches. not to do this, not to do that. You do need to make sure that there's an employee-employer relationship, but that said, you can be fair with them, and you should be fair with them and generous with them. Let's be real. My US dollars here, along with all the other Dominican Americans, Dominican Canadians that live here, which is most of who lives here, bring in the US dollars and the Canadian dollars. It's not gringos like me, despite what some people want to say. It's just not. I come in as an accessory to a Dominican. Almost every gringo I know is an accessory to a Dominican that's here. But the point is, we do make it more expensive. We bring our US dollars, we make it more expensive, and I think it's on us to compensate those that are most impacted by that are helping us by being generous and fair. So the housekeeper is huge. Let me explain just how huge. In August of 2024, we went back to the US to our home in Michigan for 1 month. Just got out of the heat for a month and went back and saw some friends. While we were there, after having been here for 2 straight years, my wife and I had this very privileged, very real realization. And that was, holy crap, we got to keep the house up and live our lives. I know that sounds absolutely insane. We've lived in the United States forever, and that's exactly what we always did. You go to work, you come home, you do your thing. But at the end of the day, after a whole day of doing whatever, having dinner, all this, now the kids got to go to bed, or you want to go to bed, it's like, the sink is full of dishes. Or the next morning you wake up and the couch is like pillows everywhere, or whatever. To not have to do that for the last couple of years by compensating somebody fairly to do it for you, it's made me more efficient as a business owner. It's made my wife's relationship and mine so much better. Imagine not having the stress of chores. Imagine that. It's given us more time with our kids. Only downside is you have to keep an eye on the kids being too spoiled by it. When my kids come home and throw off their backpack and say, Issa, please, can you make me this? Is like, no, you can go make your own. Like, let's, and put the backpack away. So you gotta watch that. But generally speaking, the point I'm making is having a housekeeper and living in a culture where that is something that's affordable, huge. Judge me, have your whole colonizer, whatever crap that you want to say, whoever's out there saying it, but the rest of you get me. You pay them fairly, you treat them well, they're going to be paid by somebody. It may as well be somebody who's going to do well by them. But that is huge. The housekeeper is massive for lifestyle, for efficiency, for connection with your spouse, for connection with your kids. It is no fun spending 2 to 3 hours a day just cleaning up and cooking and doing laundry and all of that. Imagine not folding any clothing, not cooking food, and not cleaning your house 95% of the time. Of course, at night, she's not there. She leaves. She has like a 9 to 5, but you have to clean up a few dishes after dinner that was already made by her. But that's it. Just a few minutes and we're off. So that, to me, is the clincher. That's going to get you or your spouse to say, okay, I think we can make this move. So let me just recap this, and I want to paint this picture as we go. You're watching content like mine or any other people that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. You're planting the seed with you or your spouse, getting familiar with what life looks like with real creators. And all the people I mentioned are. You get the concept of a parallel lifestyle. You're looking around at this and saying, that's not so scary. That's not way off the grid. There's no bars on windows. That looks, I could do that. My wife could do that. My husband can do that. You jump into the DR Inner Circle, link below. And join me in there and get all this bonus content and perks and benefits and lives from me. And you get expert interviews that I bring to you, and you get to ask all your questions and get them answered and meet other people that are interested in buying and living and investing down here. So now you've built community. You come for a month, and in that month you normalize life. Go to the gym, go to the grocery store, do all the things you would do if you were living here anyway. And then lastly, you have a maid, a housekeeper there to take care of all of this stuff for you, to show you what a lifestyle can be. Mwah! That's how you convince yourself or somebody else to move down here. Look, maybe my perspective isn't enough. Maybe you need the wife's perspective. And if you do, no problem. I'm dropping a video right here where she answered a whole bunch of questions, including some of the ones I just talked about. She'll even validate my gringo-ness for you. Click that link, watch the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Hey, Dan, I'm just kidding about the firing thing. Just, you keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you. But if my wife asks, it was all your fault. Okay?